There are 66 books in the Bible. However, the book of Enoch is not one of them. But why is that? In the whole Bible, there are two people named Enoch, the first one being the son of Cain. He is the son of Adam and the brother of Abel. The first known homicide was committed by Cain against Abel. We read about a second Enoch in Genesis 5. Mahalaleel is the son of Canaan, who was the son of Enoch, who was the son of Seth. Seth was the son of Adam. Enoch was thus the great-great-great-great-great-grandson of Adam, and he also had a son named Methuselah at the age of 65. And even more, Methuselah lived to be 969 years old. Noah's great-grandfather is Enoch. Before the flood that killed all of humans and all of the animals except those in the ark, God gave Noah the order to construct an ark. But here's the interesting part about this Enoch written in Genesis 5:24. And Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. Therefore he was one of the two people in the Bible, the other being Elijah, that did not experience death. However, surprisingly little is revealed in the Bible about Enoch, considering such an unusual way to leave this earth. Did you know that there are actually 3 books of Enoch? The most common reference to the book of Enoch is 1st Enoch, which is only completely preserved in the Ethiopic language. As a matter of fact, the Coptic Church in Ethiopia and the Eritrean Orthodox Church both recognize the book of Enoch as canonical. The other 2 are commonly referred as the Book of the Secrets of Enoch and the Hebrew Book of Enoch. The Book of Enoch has many apocalyptic passages that use dramatic imagery to foretell calamity and the punishment of all evil, and also angelology and demonology are heavily emphasized there, and it also spends significant amount of time to try to explain the history behind Genesis 6 verses 1 through 4. Let me read it out for you. And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of man, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. And the Lord said, My spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh. Yet his days shall be 120 years. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them. The same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown. Who are the sons of God? That's what the book of Enoch is trying to explain, because we aren't given a clear answer in the Bible. Also, it is important to mention that the whole pre-flood period is quite astonishing, because the world was much different back then. However, there are very little trustable sources about this period, because simply a lot of proof went missing because of the flood. The book of Enoch is split into 5 parts in its Ethiopic version. Section 1. Enoch pronounces God's judgment on the angels who lived with the daughters of men. In this part, 200 watchers, angels, rebel against God and are expelled from heaven alongside Satan. They give in to their desires and engage in sexual activity with human women while on earth, giving birth to the Nephilim, a race of fearsome giants that threaten the prehistoric world. Enoch sees a chaotic and horrible location as well as a fiery prison for the fallen angels. Section 2 contains 3 parables involving apocalyptic judgments. Additionally, it tells the tale of Enoch's ascension into heaven. The activity of an angel by the name of Gadriel is described by Enoch in this section. He it is who showed the children of men all the blows of death, and he led Eve astray, and he showed the weapons of death to the sons of men, the shield and the coat of mail, and the sword for battle, and all the weapons of death to the children of men. And since that day and continuing forever, they have waged war on people who live on earth under his control. Section 3 is focused on astronomical and calendarical observations. It starts with Enoch's vision of the movement of celestial bodies, including the sun, moon, and stars, and their corresponding seasons and cycles, the cosmos processes, and how the heavenly bodies control the planet's timekeeping, and agricultural cycles are explained to Enoch by the angel Eureka. He also learns about the heavenly bodies that correlate to each of the 12 months of the year, the intercalation of leap years, and the alignment of the solar and lunar calendars. Enoch's vision of the impending flood is found in section 4, along with prophecies about other yet-to-happen events like the Exodus, the conquest of Canaan, the construction of the temple, the collapse of the northern kingdom, the destruction of Jerusalem, the final judgment, the construction of the New Jerusalem, the resurrection of the saints, and the arrival of the Messiah. Section 5 provides a moral and ethical perspective on the human condition and the need of spiritual renewal and transformation. It emphasizes the importance of humility, wisdom, and obedience to God's will, as well as the consequences of turning away from the divine path. And that is the summary of the book of Enoch. As a matter of fact, in the New Testament, actually, Jude quotes from the book of Enoch, or it seems like he quotes from the book, specifically Enoch 1:9. Let me read it out for you. And behold, he cometh with 10,000s of his holy ones to execute judgment upon all, and to destroy all the ungodly, and to convict all flesh of all the works of their ungodliness, which they have ungodly committed, and of all the hard things which ungodly sinners have spoken against him. In Jude 1 verses 14 through 15 it says, Enoch, the seventh from Adam, prophesied about them. See, the Lord is coming with thousands upon thousands of his holy ones to judge everyone, and to convict all of them of all the ungodly acts they have committed in their ungodliness, and of all the defiant words ungodly sinners have spoken against him. So why isn't the book of Enoch in the Bible? First of all, Jude quoted a prophecy from Enoch that, while not mentioned in the Bible as a whole, may have been a part of the traditions and beliefs that were being passed down at the time. Also, it has heavy emphasis on angelology and demonology, which is very unusual for a Bible book. Every book in the Bible is inspired by God. The main message is that God desires a relationship with humanity. The book of Enoch, on the other hand, for the most part tries to fill the backstory of Genesis 6:1-4. Additionally, there are some differences among the book of Enoch manuscripts. This is due to the fact that the book was written over a number of centuries, and it is possible that it was edited and altered throughout time by various scribes and communities. Variations in text, content, and organization make up the majority of the manuscript's discrepancies. Some copies have extra portions or chapters that are not present in other versions, while other manuscripts completely omit specific sections or chapters. Some chapters may be in a different order in different manuscripts as well. The multiple manuscripts also varied slightly in terms of language and writing style. Some manuscripts, for instance, are written in the Old Ethiopian language, while others are written in Greek or Latin. Each manuscript's language and writing style may be a reflection of the community's linguistic and cultural traditions. The fundamental ideas and topics of the Book of Enoch, however, are the same in all manuscripts regardless of the variations. These comprise the visions of heaven and angels, the end of the world predictions, and accounts of the Nephilim and fallen angels. To add to that, there is no concrete proof that Enoch was the true author. It is often believed that the book was written by a number of authors because it contains so many different sections. It is quite doubtful that anything in the book could be from the genuine Enoch, given that it was written barely a few hundred years before the birth of Jesus. More precisely, Enoch lived more than 3,000 years before the book was written. Therefore, this book is most likely a pseudepigrapha, meaning that it seemed to mimic scripture but is actually authored under false identity. Additionally, Ezra and Nehemiah finished the Old Testament canon in about 420 BC. This occurred probably between 100 to 200 years before the book of Enoch was written. God entrusted the Hebrew scriptures to the Jews, and in their view, the book of Enoch is not a part of these inspired scriptures, which they refer to as the Tanakh. The Book of Enoch has had a profound impact on Jewish and Christian theology despite not being part of the Bible's canon, especially in the fields of angelology, as it explains the hierarchy of angels and other heavenly beings, including their names, roles, and functions, and eschatology, as it contains a number of prophetic visions that describe the end of the world and the coming of a messianic figure who will usher in a new era of peace and righteousness. The Book of Enoch is an intriguing piece of literature to read as a Christian. However, it should be treated as an apocrypha, meaning that some parts are true and correct. However, some of it might be false and historically inaccurate and is needed to be taken with a grain of salt. While I edited this video, I forgot to mention one very important detail, and it is for those who are not Christian and haven't read the Bible. First of all, it's really interesting that you've watched this entire video. And second of all, if you understood absolutely nothing, it's fine, because I am the same, almost. Well, there's something always intriguing about something that is not included, that is banned from the Bible. Well, it is actually not banned. It was never in the Bible in the first place. If you're not a Christian and you haven't read the Bible, I recommend starting with the Bible. Don't go to the Book of Enoch, okay? It will just confuse you even more. You might be asking, where should I start? Well, a great way to start is by reading the Gospel of John. There are 4 Gospels, but the Gospel of John, I feel like, is the most clear to people. I think that it is really, really important that you at least try to read the Bible and try to understand it and try to understand the significance and the importance of something that has been made, that has been written for over centuries, and that has been completed in a form of 66 books. I think it is really, really important that you at least give it a chance. Try to read the Bible, try to understand what is so significant, what do other people see that you might not see. But it's up to you to decide, because I feel like it's way more important than anything that you can achieve in this world, because anything that you can achieve in this world, it will disappear one day and will not be significant. However, if you invest in this and try to know God through the Bible, I think it is more important, because it is something that will potentially save your life after you die. My task is just to inform you, and your task is to make the choice, and the choice is in your hands. So thank you for watching this video. Honestly, the Book of Enoch, I have read some chapters, and it is interesting. I guess I'll see you soon, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask them, because I love that people ask questions, especially about topics like these. It's very important that you ask these questions. Thank you. Thank you for your time, and God bless.